Okay, today we're going to talk about the point-slope form of a line. And here's the formula. This formula is on your star EOC chart. But y minus y sub 1 equals m parentheses times x minus x sub 1. Now, just like what we talked about with the slope formula, the point, so m is going to be whatever our slope is, right? It's going to be given, or you're going to have to find it. The point is just any point on the line, and that's going to be x of the point and y of the point. So if I look at this graph right here, first thing I need to figure out is I need to figure out what the slope is. Then I need to pick a point. It does not matter which point you pick. You just have to pick a point on the line. So I see a point right here, and I see another point right here. I actually see a bunch of points. There's a point here, there's a point there, and a point there. So first, let's find the slope. We find the slope by the rise over the run. So we're going to go up 3 and over 1. So our rise is 3, our run is 1. So it's going to equal 3 over 1, which equals 3. So we're going to use that once we start writing the equation. The next thing we're going to do, excuse me, is we just need to pick any point. Which point do you want to use?
-6. Apparently -6.
This one down here? Okay, we can use that one down there. What is the x coordinate of that point? 0. The y coordinate is? -6. So now we have our point. 0, -6. That's going to be our x1, y1. So we just plug it into this formula. Y minus, what's the y value of the point we chose?
0.
-6 equals the slope. What's the slope?
0.
3. And then this is going to be times the x term, which is going to be x minus, what's the x term?
0.
0. And that is the line in point slope form. And with this, even if we chose different points, if you put this into slope intercept form, it'll all come out to be exactly the same. So let's look at another problem. And y'all can try this on your papers while we're doing it. Do this and then let me scooch it up. Okay, now let's take this and let's go up to these exercises. I'm going to go ahead and write that formula again. So it's going to be y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So this is going to be my x sub 1 here, and that's going to be my y sub 1. So I have y minus my x value, my y value, which is 3, equals, my slope is -5 times, whoops, let me do that in blue again, times x minus 1. Don't forget your parentheses. The parentheses are a very important part of that. So all you're doing is plugging in your m, your y value, and your x value. Now, if I ask you to put this in slope intercept form, let's put this here. Put in slope intercept form. First thing I have to do is I have to distribute. Let me go ahead and put a box around that because that's in point slope form. Distribute, we get y minus 3 equals -5x. -1 times -5 times -1 is +5. Then we add 3 to both sides, and we get y equals -5x plus 8. You only need to do that if you're asked to put it in slope intercept form. No questions right this second. For number 2, Actually, let's skip number 2 because number 2 is the same as this one. Let's go down where you're not given the slope. For number 4, you have to find the slope first. So let's do that. Find the slope. Now this is where we can use the slope formula. And this is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I'm going to just label this my x1 and my y1. Again, that means from the first point, x from the first point, y from the first point, x from the second point, y from the second point. So now when I plug this in, I'm going to get 5 minus negative 3 over 2 minus negative 2. Now, the first thing you need to do every time you see minus and negative is make it plus a positive. So this equals 8 over 4, which equals 2. So the slope is 2. M equals 2. So now we can pick either point. I'm going to pick this point right here just because it's positive, 2, 5. Again, that's going to be my x1 and my y1. Then I'm going to plug it into the formula. Y minus, what's the y value, class? 5. That doesn't look much like a 5, does it? There we go. Equals, parentheses, what's the slope? Whoops, not parentheses yet. The slope is 2. Now the parentheses, open parentheses, x minus, what's the of the point we picked, it's going to be 2. And then you can leave it in that form unless you're asked to put it in another form. I do want to talk about one more thing real quickly before we turn this off, and then I'll put it right over here. Let's talk about graphing, how to graph this. And of course the graph paper is popping right up. Here it is. So, if I give you a point and the slope, and so let's call this graphing. From a point, or given, graphing given a point and the slope. The very first thing you do is plot the point. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you that the slope m is going to equal 2/3, and I'm going to give you the point 2, 1. And I want you to graph this. Graph the line that goes through those points. And I do want you to use graph paper when you're doing this because we're getting to the point where the accuracy is going to be becoming more important. So the first thing we do is we plot the point. Where's the point 2, 1? Is it down here?
Yes.
That's no, 2, -1. So that's the point 2, 1 right there. Correct? Then, and this is an important, from this point, then we're going to number 2. Use the slope to find other points. Now, the slope is the steepness of the line. And the slope in this case is, we know the slope equals 2/3, 2/3, which is the rise over the run. So from this point, we're going to go up 2 and over 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's another point. We're going to do it again. I didn't place that very well. So we're going to go up 2 and we're going to go over 3. We can also actually go the other way as well. We could make it -2 over -3 and go down 2 and then over 3. Down 2 and n over 3. And if you notice when you do that, you end up having a nice straight line. If you have any that do not fall in a nice straight line, double check because you made a mistake. You might have accidentally done 3 over 2 or something like that. So this is how to graph given the slope and given a point.